Within the dark, forlorn screes of rocky intent lays a secret. A secret so devoid of being known that only the priestess of Milo knew its depths of inherent evil. Flames leapt and danced joyfully as said priestess conjured within her cauldron a device that would lay bare the innards of the secret upon the helpless folk of the village of Bolzatot. With a flash like lightning, her formulation was complete, and she rose to her tippy toes and screamed with all the power of 500 rhinos encapsulated within a minutia of a burst. The secret was this. One man would be summoned to the throne of Jikaka Imawao, the Wobbler in the Deep. This man was to be the champion of dusk and the ender of all beginnings. As the last of her screams shattered the rocks and she dropped to her knees, she changed. No longer was she the most beautiful woman of the earth, but instead, she was a bent and old woman, crippled in finger and toe. The priestess of Milo, enshrouded in her olden guise, approached the village of Bolzatot, clutching a dagger close to her breast.
Oh yeah? You me people? Hear me now, your priestess, your mistress, your goddess. I proclaim now the secret enshrouded within that most powerful of screams. I place this dagger, the blade of lustful glades, upon this town square, and whoever among you can wield it without being ruptured from lips to legs, by its inherent elation will be crowned as champion of dusk.
We shall obey,
cried the people, and one by one, each man came to take hold of the dagger, and one by one, they were ruptured until their blood littered the roads, and their legs trundled down the streets, until finally, the last boy of the village came.
My name is Twig. I was born upon no burden of birth. I take your challenge, and will wield before you now this blade of lustful glades, so that I shall be named champion of the dusk.
But are you not a mere laddie of the Bolzatots? How think you to do that which so many fine and beautiful men have failed to do? I curse you!
Cried the priestess.
I carry within my breadbasket the will of 10,000 shaking spears. Now stand back, witch!
And with that, the boy unsheathed the blade, and a light shone from it that dimmed even the sun, so that sky became a hue of fear.
Now die!
Cried Twig.
Those that insult me perish by my now mighty hand.
And then the champion of the dusk slit the priestess's throat with an outstretched hand, and he laughed with the gleefulness of youth unnurtured by mother or brother. Then the clay beneath Twig's feet shook, and a cacophony of cackles seemed to split the very foundations of the earth. And in a swirl of black smoke arose a sight so frightening that Twig was cast back upon his bottom. From that shadow there spoke a voice of immense pitch, deeper than deep, darker than the void, as merciless as a serpent, grating as death. And it said,
My son, return to me.
Fools!
Twig spat as he ran towards the demon.
In search of light, thou hast returned to us the blade of undoing, forged by the smiths of the Jaborg.
As the demon had risen up, so too had the priestess of Milo. For though her throat had been cut, she was not dead. She had the blessing of Milo upon her.
Twig, you were not supposed to remember your old ties. He abandoned you at birth. How can you serve him?
Old hag! The bounds of Jikaka Imawao cannot be molested by the curse of forgetfulness and woe.
Scoffed Twig as he swirled and twirled within the black smoke that enshrouded the demon.
Your eyes have been blinded like a window that has been shuttered by the frightened farmer. For it is not a curse you speak of, but a blessing and a chance at justice.
Retorted the priestess.
Justice by what standard? That of a warmongering witch of the hills, who hath done nothing while my people starve to death by the thousands. Now you come and tell me that I should not serve him who gave me birth and breath?
Indeed,
Answered the priestess, blood percolating from the ravine of her lacerated gullet.
no peace is set upon thee that thou must needs capitulate to the whims of your progenitor.
Then, out of the blackness and shadow from which the demon stalked, a boisterous and vehement voice manifested itself in form, like a monolith of impending woe, a leviathan devoid of skin, but whose innards are strung together with shadow and doubt. Arrogant and lustful was he, with no bounds holding his might to the fabric of earth.
Survey your ending. I have waited for more than an uncountable number of dusks, and before you now I hover devoid of reality, and within my grasp the will to inveigle all that is and is not at all.
Your trifling and foolish cacophony of inebriated-like noises besmirch my ears like a pile of vermin's fecal waste. How dare you speak such to I, the priestess of Milo, and servant of the magnificent Sky Warrior?
Dare thou jeer before the thunderous face of the planter of the seed that sprouted and blossomed devoid of soil?
Screamed Twig, his flaming hair streaming in tumultuous fury upon the boonless Zephyr.
Spoken as the vessel of my wrath truly would, son of mine.
Then the demon uttered an unintelligible cackle of joy and rage, and seized the priestess of Milo by her many brows.
Alas, you have fulfilled the trifle of a task I have set for you. Now you may die, and let my likeness expend eternal expiry unto this ethereal earth.
Then the very globin corpus upon which the breath of all spilled became stiller than a berg of ice encapsulated in an age of frost. And from the loftiest perch stooped down the one who shuns those who falter and dispatches those who would wobble. On a wind that smelled of life and love, there came down to the earth a being of such power that even the beasts of the field could not but bellow in adulation. In form, this being was born of ebony and fire and emerald jewels, with eyes that cast lightning. A deafening whisper went forth from lips of unassuming, inborn majesty, reverberating throughout the fabric of flesh and soul to inspirit all who could not help but heed its sagacity.
May the light be.
And from the firmament came a being so full of majesty that all were blinded in the fury of adulation, and he stood like an obelisk of truth, with a face so fair and young that one saw a babe, but with such erect shoulders that a stallion stood before them, and with a brow so firm, cheekbones like a V of valor, and a chin that chastised all of darkness. The women of Balzatot were so overcome with veneration that the bane of loss that surrounded them, due to the rupturing of their husbands, fled from their presence like grasshoppers, and from the mouth of this being flowed words like a resting but powerful waterfall.
I bear upon my brow the crown of life. I come to relieve not your torment, but to give you the chance of relieving it yourself. For can man grow if there is not pain to mold and life to explore? Yet I will not allow this demonic refuse to encumber your existence with the burdensome weight of forced exaltation and death.
The snarling laughter that wrested itself from the bowels of Jikakaimawao ruptured the absolute serenity that stood in the wake of the Sky Warrior.
Listen not to the feckless vanities, senseless drivel, and absurd covenants of this dazzling, pixie or witless mortals of this insignificant plane.
Then Twig snapped.
Perplexed am I at the banter between such deities as you.
And what does the worm know of the roost?
Retorted the priestess as a vibration rattled the plates of the earth.
Only this,
Replied Twig.
that it is a place of death and feasting, and that I wish to go there.
Enough!
Shrieked Jikakaimawao in tones of basso eminence.
I shall be sated, my due given. Upon the righteous
birth upon which I stand.
Hearken the Sky Warrior, with wind of crimson.
I deem a trial is at hand.
As these words ruminated in the heavens, it seemed that the earth became quieter than a willow, yet more thundering than the hooves of a great sow. And the walls of a terrible Colosseum rose from the dirt and surrounded the village. And from the bowels of the earth, there came also the beasts and monsters of the depths. From caverns deeper than that which is known to even the darkest of heavenly demons. The Fagroamkar. 3 prodigious fingers flicked up from the wobbling fist of Tikakaimawao as he intoned,
A trinity of trials shall be set before ye. The test of wits, the assessment of thew, and the appraisal of soul.
Then Twig and the priestess were thrown into the scorched earth of the Colosseum.
Gird yourself now with your weapon of choice, but choose wisely.
And set before them was an array of weapons. But these were not weapons of war, but instruments of the scholar, gleaming and glittering and titillating upon the brain. The priestess took to her hand a vast vial of ink and a golden pen with a diamond tip. But Twig was drawn to the alchemist's torch, a flaming tube that spewed forth fire and gave forth a vestual light. As his brooding brow burrowed into the crown of his scalp, Tikakaimawao stated,
You have chosen foolishly.
The demon's brows raised to an ungodly height, and he bellowed in laughter.
Now for your first test.
And from under the sand sprouted 2 toads of gallish size and distaste.
Make this abomination a beauty for the eyes to behold.
Immediately, like a plague upon the weak, the priestess put to work her finest efforts to transform the toad. With her blazing pen of golden tone, she held the toad within her palm and plunged the pen into its flesh. To her side was Twig, in his hand the flaming torch, and with it he seared from the toad's flesh all its imperfections and ugliness. What came forth from the flame was shrunken and seared, but clean of filth. On the heels of this shriveled amphibian came the second toad, glistering with warts of resplendence, and hopping on feet webbed with opulence.
I will judge this matter.
Spoke the Sky Warrior, stepping forward.
A lesson in generosity, for he who gives shall receive the same in return.
Then, with a glorious might of righteous judgment, the Sky Warrior gave to each contestant the manner of beauty they each gave to the toads. The priestess felt a sharp pain in her belly, but an ensuing form of purity, like a figurative sheet of silver-stranded silk, fell upon her shoulders, and she found that her skin became like that of a babbling runnel, and her feet like that of a whale's tongue. And lo, was she a dread to behold. To Twig came his own gift. His flesh was washed of all imperfections, and for a time he was beautiful. But then his skin charred and seared, his hair shriveled, and his toes turned up like the edges of burnt bacon. He was ugly now as death.
How dare you!
Gurgled Jikaka-Imawao.
Usurpation of my authority shall not be tolerated. I was to unleash my seething wrath upon them, not you.
If it is wrath you wish to spill upon their skin anew, then do it now, with a test of thew.
Then it came to the knowledge of both the priestess and Twig that all those who watched from the pews of the Colosseum were not merely spectators of sport, but were actually the Fakroam Ka. And with a poisonous roar they rose from their seats and jumped into the pit with faces and brows twisted in anger. Their numbers blotted away the sun. Their roar shook the plates of the earth. Their poison breath created clouds the size of heaven. Within their eyes was fire and lightning, and from their maws belched ice.
Now,
Trumpeted Jikaka-Imawao.
partake in the assessment of Thu, and hurl my vassals forth into the void of voids.
Within the center of the sands formed a pit, an endless pit, like a funnel emptying into nothingness. The two contestants found themselves thrust into the sandy maw that seemed to stretch from sun up to sundown, and in free fall they fell for centuries upon centuries, until the demons of the Fakroam Ka rained down upon them. When the monsters and the two met in the sky, there was a cacophony of noise, a blaring of color, a ridicule of life, a resplendent dash of bodies locked in mortal fray. Then the creatures of darkness and of contesters fell again to the sands of the arena.
You have done well,
declared the Sky Warrior in a voice louder than the contemplations of the ages.
and I shall.
Enough!
Spouted the demon.
The third test is to choose between us. Do you stand with I, the tormentor of wits, agitator of justice, scourge of the wise, and mortal of browbeater, or him, the arrogant of the arrogant, fool of the fools, priggish of prigs, and liar of the ever mournful idiots that infest your heavens.
The priestess contemplated this plight, And as her thoughts wove and shimmied throughout her brain, a truth to her was revealed, so true that not a single wit of hers was tormented. For she would choose neither, for her love was to be given to another.
I cannot choose.
She cried.
For during our trial, Twig and I were married upon our oath of everlasting, sun-enshrined, earth-encapsulated love. I now bear within my womb his son.
And in that moment, there burst forth from her loins a creature of splendiferous fury, masterful in dominance, and aged 1,000 years to the full ripeness of lethality. Then Twig joined her side.
Alas, I cannot choose between gods, whether they be jesters or heroes. But alas, a second time, I am but a mortal.
Doltish oath.
Screamed Jikakaima Wow as the earth began to wobble to and fro.
If one of you will not have me as husband, and the other as heir, then watch as the ruination of all becomes your reality.
But then the Sky Warrior bellowed in triumphant glee.
So you show your true colors, O wobbler of wobbling wobblers? That you would hold over this once a virgin's head the death of humanity if she does not defile herself with you, as she has your son. You are truly a dastardly niggard and a villain.
Yet, before the ponderous reply could be made, Twig, clutching his innards with fingers grown long and frail, crumpled to his shriveled knees and wailed his grief to skies racked with vermilion sorrow. And lo, like to a thing made of ash he was, and then he was not but a pile of ash. Then the splendid creature that had sat idly by, after seeing the one who had sired it fall and blow away as dust, rose up, and with a voice like 1,000 trumpets, sang in the face of the demon.
I alone in darkness, to my will it was bound, like the hand in a puppet, life's meaning had I found. No, I will not remain. As a warrior I grew, a birth born of glory. When darkness reigns I find, I will stand against sin. Now I see the light. This brings me to my point. Love comes before spring. death comes after. So quake in fear as I sing and fill the world with glee.
This has been a myth to tell your children. Genesis Productions hopes you've enjoyed this program.